Hello, everyone. So, yesterday I had a very interesting cultural experience, and I was going to post about it on Facebook, but then I was like, no, I should make a video about it. So, I'll give you some background information and kind of set the scene. So, we went out for supper to a restaurant, and so we're driving home, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. Felix, who's a friend of mine and Indonesian, he's driving. Behind him is my other friend Dennis, who is also Indonesian, and then behind me is Jared, who is Canadian. So we're driving home and we pull into an Indomaret, which is a really common convenience store here. And Felix had to go inside and just grab something. And so we're sitting in the parking lot, and these like five young boys walk past and they look in the window and they can see me. And so they then proceed to stand at the hood of the car and stare at me. And I'm not talking like every now and then they glance over. I'm talking like no blinking, staring right at my face for like 5 minutes, which made me super uncomfortable. And so I turned around and started talking to Dennis and Jared, and I was like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm having a conversation with you right now because I don't know where to look because they're staring at me. And so that went on for a little bit, and I just kept saying, Dennis, are they still there? Are they still watching? And every time they were still there and still watching. And so then a few minutes pass, and all of a sudden they're right at the window, me and Jared's window, and they're like knocking on it. And so I look over, and they're all pointing at their noses and they're saying something, but I can't hear them because A, the windows are closed, and B, even if I could hear them, they're speaking Indonesian, so I can't understand them. And so I'm like, do I open the window and talk to them? Like, I don't know what to do. And so I was asking Dennis, and he was like, I don't know. And so I was like, I don't have a problem talking to them. I just don't like it when they stare at me and I don't know what to do. So eventually, Jared opens his window, and they're still pointing to their noses and saying something. And then Dennis ends up telling us that they're asking if they can borrow our noses because our noses are very different than Indonesian noses, apparently. And so they just kept asking if they could have our noses, and it was super hilarious and awkward. And then eventually Felix came back, and we just like awkwardly drove away. And that was my experience. It was really weird. Sometimes I try to be like, okay, I'm just gonna stare back at them because it's not rude here to stare. So I'm just gonna stare back at them and see how long I can last, but I can never do it. I just can't bring myself to stare at someone. It's so incredibly awkward. So, yeah, that was my interesting cultural experience.